Alright, what's going on? Sick Bit here, aka Meek, here to give y'all a draft analysis on my newest kind of league, XDL Academy. This is something I want to start this channel with, working with Pokemon Showdown and the different kind of draft leagues that are involved in that. This one I was invited to. Shout out to Draco Anubis for inviting me to this. We've done pretty well so far. We'll get into a little bit of the battles here in the next video, but first we wanted to start with the draft analysis and kind of go through. This is a doc that was given to me. It was Beal's Academy. Beal's Academy is the one who gave this to me. So, yes. So first we'll start with Rillaboom and why this was my first overall pick. So we got Rillaboom here. We got the G-Max version of Rillaboom. Okay, so really big stuff with this. He's got Overgrown Grassy Surge. A lot of the times we're going to run Grassy Surge. What that does is allows us to set the terrain for a couple of different mons on my team, one being a Lucha. So pretty good stats all around. A little bit lower in the special defense. I like to build my teams. A lot of bulk. You can see a lot of these guys have either high HP stats or really high defenses here. But we'll get more into that. So really, he's setting the Grassy Surge that also weakens moves like any ground moves, except for 1,000 arrows from Zygarde. But pretty good attack, pretty good HP, really good defense. A lot of the time, I'm going to be running Assault Vest on him just to give him that little extra boost, and then max HP. You really don't need too much attack with him to do a lot of damage, especially when you're G-maxed. So yeah. Gets a lot of good moves. Swords Dance, Grassy Glide is the bread and butter now because of that +1 priority in Grassy Surge. That's what the really big. So Grassy Glide is the bread and butter here. +1 priority in the grassy terrain, and because he sets it with this Grassy Surge, makes it almost always +1 priority, which is really good, which is really strong because it also gets a base power boost. I think it gets to about 110. Is that right? 105, excuse me. Gets access to knockoff and drain punch, which is really good. Not reliable recovery, pretty good recovery though. Along with Grassy Surge, will heal you up pretty good. Swords Dance is really good. You got Wood Hammer, you got U-Turn for momentum here. Acrobatics if you're running this Grassy Seed set, so it's got a little bit of interesting stuff. It's got high horsepower. It gets Earthquake, which I like a little bit better because that 100% accuracy plus. Actually, that's it. Let's see some more moves. It gets Body Press, not running that too much because you want to run usually offensive. Drum Beating could be interesting because the 100% chance to lower the speed by 1, which could be interesting. Lychee Berry sets with Endure could be interesting. Fake Outs could be nice. Let's see here. Knock Off, of course. Low Kick is pretty good. So you don't have to run that Hammer Arm if you're running against a heavy Pokemon or heavy Mon. Let's see here. Taunt's really good. I like that a lot. And then Worry Seed for the tech. Most of the time you're going to be running U-Turn. You're going to be running Grassy Glide, Knockoff, and Drain Punch though. A little bit of acrobatics for a speed boost. But we can go to the next Mon, which is going to be Kyurem. Okay, so. Very good Mon. I took him second overall because he was at 14 points. I saw a lot of value in a 14-point Kyurem, and I'll tell you why right now. So you can see his stats are really good. You got 125 in the base HP stat, which you know I like the bulky boys. And then you got 130 in each of the attacking. And this is different than it was in Gen 7 because in Gen 7 he was really only able to go special most of the time. New moves like Freeze Dry makes him so he's able to be water types now. And the addition of Dragon Dance is really huge for that physical move pool. That means that he doesn't really have to run too much physical attack to actually be hitting pretty hard. And also with the new addition of Icicle Spear, you're doing about 75 damage most of the time as an ice stab, which is pretty good damage. I mean, Ice Beam is 90, so you're hitting a little bit harder, but sometimes you hit that fourth, sometimes you hit that fifth Icicle Spear, that's really going to start hurting. Subroost is always pretty good, but I think the Dragon Dance with Icicle Spear, Stone Edge, and then maybe like an Outrage if you're feeling like they don't have like a strong Fairy or something, you can really hit hard. Iron Head's really nice here. Gets Body Press now, which I don't think is too good. Dragon Claw, Outrage, Gets Earth Power for good coverage on the special side. Freeze Dry is really important here. This is how you beat. This is that spammable move. You can beat Slowbro now. You can beat. I mean, you can beat a lot of these water types that were able to switch in before on these special Kyrums. Iron Head is good for coverage. Glaciate, it still gets that for that speed lowering if you need it. Rock Slide we're not going to use too much because we got Stone Edge down here. Let's see here. It gets Roost. That's really reliable recovery. Fantastic. Zen, and then for those weather teams, Megazard Y or a Torkoal or something like that, you can run Weather Ball. Not using... Oh, Shadow Ball is kind of nice. It also gets Shadow Claw. Let's see here. It looks like that's it for, like, the good stuff about Kyurem, but the Ice type is so spammable. The Dragon type is so spammable. It's so easy to Dragon Dance and start hitting things hard because they think that you're going to be special. That's what makes Kyurem really good, and what I think is to be a second-round pick in the 14 points. Rillaboom is about 17 points because obviously he's just a G-Max Mon. But Kyurem at 14 points, I think this is a 17, 18 point Mon with Dragon Dance, in my opinion. And then we have Volcanion, which is going to round out our Fire, Water, Grass, which is not necessary really to have a Fire, Water, Grass, but it's nice. Volcanion's really an interesting Mon because it's unique typing in fire and water, being able to 4 times resist bug, fire, ice, and steel, which are really common types in the draft league format, especially against my team. That's what a lot of people want to run. So you got steel, you got fire, you got ice. You know, so all four of those being 4 times resistance, very, very strong. And you can see that we have resistances already to electric, ground, and rock with our Rillaboom, and then we have resistances right here to electric with Kyurem. So we already have a really good synergy right here with these 3 Mons. Now, are we going to get better? Abso-freaking-lutely. But this is a pretty good start. So here's a defensive switch, kind of a pivot almost. I like to use him as, you know, kind of one that can come in and tank a hit from a weaker move. So he's got a great ability in Water Absorb. HP is okay, defense is great, special defense okay, but really you're looking at this special attack and the defense, and which really, with the water and fire typing, this is really good defense, and it's okay, it's good enough HP to where it can actually do some things. Steam Eruption is also the signature move here, which is an OP Scald. Okay, you got your 95% accuracy, but for the most part, this is your bread and butter right here, and this is what he's going to be clicking more often than not, and he's going to be hurting things by a lot because of Steam Eruption. 110 base power with a 30% chance to burn. It's really, really strong. You're not going to be running Defog too much. Maybe if you're like a heavy-duty boot set and you're like really just wall the hell out of maybe a Vaporeon or maybe something else like that, you can just come in Defog. But a lot of the times you're going to be running Steam Eruption. Fire Blast, it's only got 85% accuracy, but I think it's worth it for the damage output. And Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb's a really nice coverage move. Sludge Bomb, Earth Power, really, really nice coverage moves on this guy. Being a second way to beat Steel types with Earth Power, and then a way to beat Fairy types because you're resistant to Fairy with that Fire typing. So you need a way to beat them once you come in on them. It has a physical move pool. I think most of the time, unless I'm going to go Heat, I'm going to be running Special. Flame Charge is really nice to give a pseudo Choice Scarf to your Volcanion. And then able to, you know, carry leftovers or something else like that if need be. Scald's never something you're going to run because you want the Steam Eruption. You want the extra damage, and you want that. You want the same. It's the same thing. Same thing as Scald, without the base power, without the 30 base power loss. Makes it really special. Will-O-Wisp is nice. Stone Edge could be interesting for some physical sets. Stomping Tantrums here. You're going to run Earthquake, actually. Solar Beam. If you're facing like a Zard Y or something, you bring this in. You can Solar Beam it if you need, or you can Solar Beam other things. if it sets the sun. Let's see here. Gyro Ball, you're not going to be running that. Fire Blast here. That's pretty much it, I think, for Volcanion. A really good Mon, and he stands up to these really bulky waters. I mean, because the bulky waters, what do they have? They got Ice Beam and Scald for stab, right? And then they got like either a Recover move or maybe Toxic or something like that. But it's really good for walling these guys and then doing a lot of damage with Sludge Bomb, respectively. You got Halucha next, which this Mon has been putting in work, and it has been since Gen 7. You know, it's kind of just got a different way. I mean, this is kind of like the Tapu Bulu Lucha kind of sets. But we'll look at a Lucha real quick. I don't want to go too much over him because we'll be seeing he's going to do some work. But he's got a lot of weaknesses here. A lot of common weaknesses. Electric, Fairy Flying, Ice, and Psychic. We have already some resistances to that, except for Flying, I believe. But no matter. So really, he's going to be running Grassy Seed most of the time. He's got a couple of sub Citrus Berry sets, but a lot of the time you're going to be running that Grassy Seed with Acrobatics Boost. Acrobatics being it gets the 110 base power. It gets the double in base power because you've used your item. Unburden also, so you're getting a couple of boosts here already, and then you can get an SD off with that Grassy Seed pops because you're in that grassy terrain, and then you're sitting there and you got +1 defense now, and now you can Swords Dance up in front of a physical attacker and really start hitting these. I'm going to say CC and Acrobatics, and maybe a coverage move if absolutely need be, which a lot of the times you probably will. Let's say a bulky water comes in. Well, a lot of the times I'd Acrobatics, but maybe like a, I don't know, Lando or something like that. You're probably going to hit an Ice Punch, right? So Acrobatics, bread and butter. Let's see if it's going to use anything else. Drain Punch could be nice for some recovery with maybe a bulk, not a bulk upset. You probably still want an SD. So Drain Punch gets all the punches, fire, ice. It gets Iron Head for the fairies. A lot of times you're going to Acrobatics that, but maybe there's a situation. Let's see here. Poison Jab is really freaking nice, actually, for hitting those. I guess you could hit maybe like a Grass Fairy Core. Let's see here. Gets Tailwind, gets U-Turn. You're not going to be running U-Turn too much, but Zen Headbutt is a nice and X-Scissor for those bulky Psychics. And these are for your bulky poisons. So really good coverage, and it's really tough to wall this thing entirely. You got also some Dark Stab if you need it, and Taunt. Taunts could be actually pretty freaking good. Sky Attack is also a move of note because you can run Power Herb Sky Attack. You get that Unburden boost, and you get that Acrobatics boost if you wanted to. Yeah, you would probably want to run Acrobatics again too, on top of that. So that's a Lucha. Really just going to be. We haven't talked about Mold Breaker, but a lot of the time I'll be running that Grassy Seed set unless it's like a really slow team. I won't need to. But Mold Breaker is really good. No matter the ability, it's gonna go through that. So that's really good actually. A lot of weaknesses though. Pretty frail Mon, super fast, and it only gets faster. And then you kind of need that Swords Dance to sweep unless it's like a broken down team. But I think it's good for this team because we don't really have a sweeper in these guys. 85, 95, 70. Not too fast. This really bumps up our speed tier. I mean, this is a 236 Mon right here if it comes in after Rillaboom. So that really helps out. We're going to go back down in the speed tiers to Metagross, but this is a phenomenal and one of the... oh boy. And one of the last steel types that really I liked. Okay. So we got, here's the stats right here. We're not looking at this guy. This guy's awesome, but we're going to look at this guy. So Steel Psychic, 4 times resist Psychic and is immune to poison. A lot of resists. That's just what the Steel typing brings. You got Dark, Fire, Ghost, and Ground, which we resist all of those with our respective Mons except for Ghost. Yeah, and Dark. But... let's see here. So Meteor Mash is a signature move. 20% chance to raise the user's attack. It's okay. Most of the time we'll be running Bullet Punch. We need to go to a EU set. There it is. Gets EQ, gets Pursuit, and gets... this is a choice band set. So you could trick on walls and different things like that because you're that psychic typing. It's pretty strong. It's another stealth rocker. I am trying to come down here. So Bullet Punch is your pretty good. It's a really, really good stab. It gets agility and rock polish. We'll look at that later, though. Earthquake right here. Of course, stealth rocks. Flash. You're not gonna run that too much. Let's see here. Nope. It gets Ice Punch. Does it get Fire Punch? I don't think so. Doesn't look like it. Does it get Thunder? So it does get Thunder Punch. Misses out on Fire Punch. Let's see if there's a fire type move here. I see one. Okay. Iron Head, of course, for your stronger stab if you need it. Psychic. Psyshock. Okay. Return. It's good. Rock Polish here. You got Stone Edge. Where are you, buddy? Okay. Rock Slide then. Rock Slide is your rock stab. Let's see here. Zen. Here's your strong psychic type. You got Trick, Stealth Rock. So this is a very good mon. It's really it has a high defense and a really good attack. I mean, this is even better than Sizor's attack. Of course, it doesn't get Technician. It gets Clear Body, but it's also a very, very good mon, and it has that priority that can help at 70 speed with really good defenses and an okay HP stat. Next one is Lando T, which is Mr. Smogon himself. We got Intimidate, which is a great ability, lowering the attack by 1 stage of the opponent's Pokemon when switched in. So immune to electric and ground, which we were not necessarily weak to, but we had an electric weakness, resistant, and resistant, and resistant. So I guess we weren't too bad, but also a ground immunity, which pairs up with a Lucha. Also doesn't really help with the ice. Really strong attack. I mean, this is a dominant Pokemon in the draft format, and it was unpicked. So I said I had a little bit of extra points because I took Kyurem, I took Volcanion, I took these lower tier mons as my second and third pick, and I was able to go and get this high tier mon because somebody had left it there, you know. So you got to take that when you're given it, and you got to take it early so that nobody else thinks that they can take it. So it gets Earthquake, which is a very, very strong Earthquake. U-turn. There's no Z moves here, so he can't really Z fly, which would be nice. But Earthquake, U-turn, Stone Edge, and Defog, really, really nice set. Another Stealth Rocker as well, and a reliable one at that. Gets SD. It gets Stone Edge. These guys are for the Whimsicots and the Tapu Bulus of the world right here. These Sludge Bomb and Sludge Wave. And you don't really have to run much to kill those guys. A great knockoff user. Iron Tail's pretty good. Fly, not too much. Earthquake. You could go special with Earth Power, but what he's going to do most of the time, he's going to run Defog, he's going to run EQ, he's going to run, Stone Edge. He's going to run these, not too many moves, but he can do what he wants, and his stats really help him out. They're really good in the way that they want to and where he wants to be. As a really good Choice Scarf user, if he had a little bit more speed, a little Lando Eye, he'd be nice. He'd be a little bit better, I think. But the attack with U-turn, it's really, really strong. Scarf set. Let's see here. I ran a Focus Sash set that we'll talk about in a couple of battles. That I'll show you all how that worked out and how that really went well for me, I think. Next mon is Wheezing Galar. Or Galarian Wheezing, excuse me. What is it under? It's not under this. Yeah. Alright, so we needed a fairy type. A lot of the fairy types were gone already, and this was kind of like a budget fairy, and it kind of does more or less what I want to do. Or a little bit of different things. So it's got Levitate for its ground weakness, so it's only affected by Psychic. It's Steel now. And it resists Bug and Fighting by 4 times. Immune to Dragon is also an important one, and it also resists Dark moves, which is also important for me. resistances that I needed. It also gets access to Misty Surge, so that if I didn't want to bring Rillaboom one week, I can bring Halucha with Wheezing, and kind of set up the same that way. It also gets access to Levitate, which is really good too. And I think most of the time when I'm going to run, so that I overwrite my Rillaboom's Grassy Surge. Works really well as a defensive set, but it also gets Defog and Toxic Spikes, which is really what he's there for. He's there as a Toxic Spiker, as a healer with Aromatherapy. He's got Defog, of course. He's got Explosion. Let's see here. Haze is it can be nice. He's got where's his? He's got Strange Steam. Where is that? There it is. Strange Steam. It's a really strong move. I mean, that's really close to Moonblast. I think Moonblast is he doesn't get it. But this is a really good support mon for the things that I have already in place. I mean, you got your Toxic Spikes, you got your Haze, you got your Defog, you got those things. You got Memento, which can really help a Pokemon set up by putting the other Pokemon at -2 in both of its attacking. It gets Pain Split, which can be nice. Poison Gas is like Toxic. I think you want to run Toxic more often, but I think it gives you... Oh, wow, 40 PP. I did not know that. Let's see here. Self-destruct. You want to run Explosion, though. Taunt. Taunt could be nice. It's not a super fast mon. Will-O-Wisp can also be good as a defensive check. Let's say you need a defensive check to a really strong fighting type. This is your guy, right? This is your guy because he resisted. Very, very good resistance to fighting. I think that might be it for Galarian Wheezing. Yeah, just a really good... He can be a cleric. He can be a defogger. He can be, somebody that can come in and kind of reset the momentum of the game with defog or toxic spikes or just different things like that. Scrafty. So we needed a dark type so that these, the Reunicluses of the world, the Alakazams, they can't just get away with just slamming Psychic on it and then Calm Mind, Trick Room, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So, really good. He's very weak to Fairy, but we have a couple of resistances on the team and ways to deal with Fairies, especially strong Fairies. And he can do a couple of different things. He has Intimidate and he's got Moxie. A Shedskin, you're not going to run too much, but there is a merit to it. Really low HP, but high defenses here. I mean, you're looking like this is like half of a Toxapex in terms of the stats. It's got access to Dragon Dance and Bulk Up and different ways to set up if need be. And it also has just a Choice Band set, that just can come in and knock something off. Just whatever's coming in, it's going to take about 40% and it's going to get its item knocked off. And it can also, it's really good about switching it on Psychic types, which it would be kind of tough for my team except for Metagross. Can really take the Psychic type hits. So I kind of wanted another guy that could say, hey, I'm not just going to run Metagross every single week. I'm going to bring this guy, and he could set up. He could do these different things. To look through real quick, gets Fake Out. Knockoffs are really important on this mon. It gets all the punches. Let me see. Okay, I saw Thunder Punch. It gets Poison Jab, which is nice. Outrage. Ice Punch. Where's my Thunder? No. Fire Punch. Gets Fire Punch. Okay, cool. Iron Head, Iron Tail if you need the power. Rock Slide does a good Edge. Yeah, it gets Edge. I mean, it gets a lot of good moves. Taunt, Zen, Power Punch could be interesting. Low, Lash Out. I don't think you're going to use that too often. Head Smash. Yeah, I forgot about Head Smash. Holy smokes. So this will do 50% of your health. But it's 150 base power, so you get a Dragon Hits up, you Head Smash something. I don't know what's going to live it. I really don't know what would live that. Not very many things are going to live a Dragon Dance. Yeah, well, maybe 90? Okay, we're getting close to the end here. We got an Imposter Ditto. Imposter means that it can change forms immediately. And what this is going to do is this stops every single piece of setup in the world. If I feel like there's a lot of setup, like there's 3 Kirums, what Lando T's like crazy, Haluchas like crazy, I bring Ditto, I slap a choice scarf on it, I sack something, I bring this in, it revenges everything, and it could resweep the rest of their team. If it's really that potent, a Volcarona, whatever I'm fearful of that I don't have checks for. Ditto, you slap it on, choice scarf, you're fine. Sometimes a red card if it's like a tank. So there's a couple of different ways that could work. Really simple Pokemon, but an essential Mon at a low tier. I think it was way too low. I think this thing is so powerful to me. In my opinion, it's a very powerful Pokemon. I think I got it for like maybe 5 points or 6 points, something crazy like that. We got our second Fairy type because I think the Fairy type is a really important type. This also gives us a Ghost immunity, another Stealth Rocker, and access to Frisk, which I love Frisk. Oh, it also has competitive. Competitive and Frisk are really good. Frisk allows you to look at the other person's item as soon as you come in. And competitive, if one of its stats are dropped, its special attack is increased by 2. Now, great HP, really low defenses, and it doesn't have an evolution, so it can't carry an Eviolite to boost those defenses. But it's really good with Stealth Rock, and it's got a couple of different things. It's got Disable. It's got like a sub-Disable set could be interesting with. It gets a whole bunch of coverage moves because it was a normal type before it became Fairy. Gets Wish, gets Heal Bell, I'm almost certain. It gets Heal Bell. It's a really good cleric, and it can do a couple of different things, especially if you have like a team that can set Toxic Spikes and different things like that. Like, let's say I set Toxic Spikes with my Galarian Weezing. I switch out to my Wigglytuff on their Defog. I'm getting +2, and now I'm taking something from them. Usually you don't think of Wigglytuff as that kind of Pokemon, but it can do that if the matchup is right. And what other time to do it other than to do it in a draft league? All right. So we got Blossom here. Single grass type, same type as Rillaboom. The reason it's here is because it's tanky. It gets Strength Sap, Quiver Dance, and it gets Baton Pass. I literally won't use this thing for almost anything else, even though it probably could be used for something. I like using it as a Quiver Dance, Baton Pass, physical switch-in. That is, I want this to come in, I want this to Quiver Dance up, I want this to eat hits, and I want this to Strength Sap things that are physically inclined or physically attacking, and then I want it to Baton Pass out to Kyurem, Volcanion, and my other special sweepers, which is pretty much going to be Weezing, Kyurem, and Volcanion, which these guys are freaking deadly, man. Well, maybe not Weezing too much, but Kyurem and Volcanion will take that thing and run. So I think that's a very, very, very good. It's got really good synergy. You can see it's got. We're missing Rock, Ghost, Electric, and Bug, but we have resistances to everything. We got a bunch of immunities. Here. We're 4 times weak to Ice here with Lando, and 4 times weak to Fairy with Scrafty, but that is it. Got four with Flying. But that's it for really crazy kind of things. Have a bunch of ground immunities here. So it's really good. We'll look into the types. We already talked about all these guys getting Stealth Rocks and Weezing or Galarian Weezing getting Toxic Spikes. We talked about all these guys have defog except for Lucha. That really doesn't matter too much because I'm not going to be defogging with that guy. Aromatherapy. Wigglytuff also gets Heal Bell. I don't know why it's not put in here. But we got a couple of clerics and different clerics that do different things. And then we have some momentum here. Let's see here. U-turn. Let me just make sure this is correct. Yeah, that looks good. Momentum could be important here. And then access to teleport, getting those fat wishes off, and then teleporting in to one of my Mons. I think I'm going to put... actually, I'm certain about this. I will put up our first week tomorrow, and then I will try to put last week's on the day after that. And then we got our week 3 in a couple of days. I'm still working with a guy, Mr. Scissors. Shout out to Mr. Scissors. We'll see what happens, but he's got a pretty good team. And we'll see you tomorrow. And this is Sick Bid, aka Meek, signing out.